Before the COVID-19 pandemic, the ATO was by far the largest petitioning creditor of winding up applications and bankruptcies in Australia. The combination of the temporary debt relief measures intended to alleviate the circumstances regarding COVID, as well as the ATO pulling back on its debt recovery, significantly dropped the number of insolvency filings in 2020 and 2021. That position will likely change in 2022. The most common way for the ATO to apply to wind up your company is to rely upon a failure to comply with a statutory demand. A statutory demand is a prescribed form under the Corporations Act that requires you to pay the debt to the satisfaction of the creditor within 21 days, or apply to the court to set aside the statutory demand within 21 days. Failure to comply with the statutory demand gives rise to a presumption of insolvency, upon which the ATO may apply to a court to wind up your company. If your company is served with a statutory demand, or if you are served with a bankruptcy notice and you can't pay the debt in full, then you should seek legal advice immediately or advice from an insolvency practitioner. However, there are some steps you can take to best prepare you in dealing with the statutory demand. The most common way of avoiding your company being wound up by the ATO is to reach some form of agreement with the ATO. In considering any agreements, the ATO will consider the risk to the revenue, your compliance history, and the nature of your offer. If you receive a statutory demand, make sure you make a note of when you've received it. With current delays in the Australia postage system, the usual postage times no longer apply, and a couple of days may make all the difference between whether your application to set aside the statutory demand is made within time or not. Check the statutory demand or bankruptcy notice for any defects in terms of how they describe the debt, how they describe you or your business, and what the debt is made up of. Compile all the correspondence you have with the ATO regarding your tax liability and be in a position to advise your lawyer or insolvency practitioner whether or not you dispute the tax liability and why. To get immediate clarity on the tax situation facing you or your business, contact Aptum.